Loyola University basketball coach Sheryl Swoopes, she's under investigation, accused of mistreating players. One of them is speaking out this morning, telling us why she wanted to transfer. ABC's Lindsay Davis is here with the details. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Lara. Sheryl Swoopes was the first woman to ever sign with the WNBA. But this morning, the college coach is not only under fire, but under investigation after reports that the majority of her roster has decided to.
Sheryl Swoopes wasn't just replaced, she was pushed out. Fired. And the reason? Caitlin Clark.
There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit going on around there.
It's a lot. Yeah. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't
want to be here.
This is where I want to be.
Yeah. Now listen.
Months ago, Sheryl Swoopes sat atop her pedestal, boldly predicting disaster for the Indiana Fever. She dismissed Caitlin Clark, insisting no one wanted to play in Indiana and that top talent would never sign there.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. As always, appreciate your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. Let's go. So I wanted to do a little bit of a dive into the Fever roster, what that looks like. Now that we've gotten through the bulk of the free agency offseason, we've seen a lot of changes.
Fast forward to today, and the Fever have just shaken up free agency with the biggest move in WNBA history.
So y'all can record this, you cannot record it, but the biggest thing I want everybody to hear me say right now.
Superstar, signings, franchise-altering moves. And as for Swoopes, silent.
All right, Hoop Queens, gather around because we've got some major tea brewing in the WNBA. Indiana Fever just landed Brianna Turner in free agency. Brianna Turner, let that sink in.
She's suddenly silent. Funny how that happens after all the bold talk. Ever seen someone fade away after running their mouth? That's exactly what's unfolding now. Indiana just sent a message that's rocking the entire league, and we're here to break it all down.
But I think you're starting to get a little bit more shine from maybe the casual fan, and maybe some folks who maybe didn't know or haven't seen Indiana as much as they've seen this year.
I agree.
So what's that part like, you know, getting that little bit more attention and getting a little bit more shine and getting the recognition?
Before we dive into the details, take a quick second to like this video and subscribe. Stay tuned for the hottest WNBA. Updates, expert analysis, and all the drama you won't find anywhere else. Now, let's get into it.
Yes. Wait. Yep. You look good on me, huh? Look good. Like a whole 360. Like, I think I was talking to my wife about it. I'm like, man, what if I go back to Indiana where I started? That'd be crazy. Look where I'm at.
The Indiana Fever just flipped free agency on its head. They didn't just sign players, they built a powerhouse. Ever played franchise mode in a video game and went all in? That's exactly what Indiana just did. They stacked their roster with championship experience, relentless competitors, and players who bring both skill and swagger. This wasn't just an off-season move, it was a full-scale takeover.
Going for your services, DeWanna, so why was this the right opportunity for you?
I just feel like it was the location for one. My kids are literally right up the road, and I've spent a lot of time away from them, so that and the core that they have here now is just kind of want to fit in and be another piece of the puzzle and hopefully bring the energy dynamic and take us to a different level in the playoffs.
First, they locked in Natasha Howard, a three-time WNBA champion and a defensive force. Howard doesn't just defend, she erases opponents. Her ability to guard multiple positions, crash the boards, and protect the rim instantly elevates Indiana's defensive presence.
In Sophie Cunningham, the Indiana Fever are trading for a multi-dimensional wing, capable of knocking down the three ball.
Cunningham is starting to cook. Cunningham three is good.
Cunningham from the corner, locking down defenders.
Several deflections, and this time she gets the steal and the N1 opportunity.
It looks like you're adding to a script or article about the Indiana Fever's moves in free agency. Do you want me to refine this line for better flow and impact? Or are you looking for a deeper analysis of how DeWanna Bonner's addition changes the Fever's outlook? Let me know how I can help. they weren't finished. Yet. Enter Sophie Cunningham, a fearless competitor with an undeniable edge. She's a high-energy, trash-talking spark plug who thrives in big moments and knows how to electrify both her team and the crowd. Indiana needed that fire, and Sophie delivers. To cap it off, they brought in Sydney Colson, a veteran with championship DNA who does more than just contribute on the court. She elevates teams. Her leadership in the locker room will be just as valuable as her presence in the game. This isn't just a roster upgrade, it's a championship blueprint. The Fever didn't wait for success, they built it from the ground up.
And that's where you brought up the Fever. I think what I've learned in my WNBA experience is pace of play trumps physicality, it trumps size, it can trump experience, because a lot of times when you're experienced, it's really like code word for your veteran, which is code word for your old.
Slow the pace.
Yeah. So I feel like
I know that's why you guys were so good for those
in
years.
2018 and 2020, the years we won, that was our whole mantra, was pace, 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 pace. And what I see in Caitlin.
For months, the media stuck to the same worn-out narrative. Indiana was a lost cause. The franchise was labeled a dead zone, a place top talent wouldn't touch. Analysts shrugged them off. Critics mocked the idea of major signings. And Sheryl Swoopes? She flat out dismissed the thought of Indiana attracting elite free agents. To most, the Fever were just another struggling team with no real influence in the league.
Her face, unable to hit. Bree Jones, another O board for Connecticut. Better look for Mabry. Off the mark.
And yet, here we are. Indiana didn't just sign free agents. They secured some of the biggest names available. The same team that was supposedly a lost cause just assembled one of the most formidable rosters in the WNBA. Natasha, Howard, DeWanna Bonner, Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Colson. These aren't just depth pieces, they're proven winners. Playoff-tested veterans, players who could have gone anywhere, but chose Indiana. That alone shatters the myth that the Fever aren't a desirable destination. Now, the same analysts who dismissed them are scrambling. Their takes aged like spoiled milk. Overnight, the entire perception of the Fever changed, and it boils down to one undeniable fact. They built a culture that players want to be part of. With Caitlin Clark at the helm, a front office making fearless moves, and a roster built to contend, Indiana isn't just back. They're here to take over.
Oh, it's a triple-double for Caitlin. What a reaction by Kelsey. Well, how about the knowledgeable fans in this building? They burst out of their seats like it was a game win.
Let's be real. This is the Caitlin Clark effect in full force. Clark isn't just another rookie trying to prove herself. She's a franchise-altering force, the kind of player who doesn't just improve a team, but reshapes the entire WNBA landscape. The Indiana Fever, once stuck in a seemingly endless rebuild, is now the league's biggest attraction. And that's no accident. Clark's arrival didn't just bring hype, it brought credibility. Elite players want to team up with her. Fans can't get enough. Indiana didn't just get better, they became must-watch basketball.
So when you talk about the young girls that came in, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, rookie class, really hyping up the league coming from college to the WNBA, what has that done for you and the buzz of this entire league?
I think it's so positive. I really do. I think it's a fun time to be a part of the W. I truly believe that. I think the skill and the talent has always been there, but now it's just the viewership. And so I give a big old clap to the rookie class. I think that's a lot to deal with when you're at that age and you have that many eyes on you. But I think they've done a great job in the league as well. I think the physicality and all that they're going to get used to, but I think especially Caitlin Clark, she's been killing it.
When Sophie Cunningham signed with Indiana, she didn't hold back. Caitlin Clark was a major factor. Players aren't just hearing about Clark's absurd shooting range or jaw-dropping assists. They're hearing about her leadership, relentless competitiveness, and the way she elevates everyone around her. That's the kind of player teammates want to rally behind. Clark isn't just drawing eyes. She's attracting top-tier talent and turning Indiana into a destination.
I'm going to use her word. I want to see her continue to be a dog, because she is a dog. Here's what I'll say about Angel. I love the fact that she's just her. Right? And she says she's unapologetically Angel. She plays hard, both ends of the floor. It doesn't matter what the score is. The thing that I think people question wasn't so much about her her game or her rebounding, but it was the scoring. And the fact that she is either averaging or almost averaging a double-double is pretty impressive to do from anybody, but in particular a rookie. I just love how she's come into this league. She's embraced the bumps, the bruises. She's embraced the good with the bad. And I love watching her play because she plays hard the entire.
And let's talk about Sheryl Swoopes. She dismissed Caitlin Clark as overhyped, just another college star who'd need years to adjust before making an impact. But reality? Clark is already leading the league in assists, torching defenses with 40-point performances, and shifting the balance of power in the WNBA. Indiana isn't just improving, they're becoming a legitimate threat, and Clark is the driving force behind it all.
Pin down here, wide open. Bang!
Caitlin Clark's influence extends far beyond the court. Sure, she's torching defenses and rewriting record books, but the real shift is happening off the hardwood. She's driving record ticket sales, smashing TV viewership numbers, and making the WNBA a must-watch spectacle. Every Fever game feels like an event. Every matchup featuring Clark turns into primetime drama. This isn't just a rising star. This is a movement.
Swoopes has it, turns in the air for the game.
Before becoming one of the most electrifying players in WNBA history, Sheryl Swoopes was a sensation on the college stage, leading Texas Tech to the 1993 NCAA title with a record-setting 47-point performance in the championship game.
Sheryl Swoopes never saw this coming. She assumed Caitlin Clark would struggle, that she'd have to slowly earn her place. Instead, Clark stormed into the league and flipped the script. Now, she's the reason Indiana has become the WNBA's hottest destination. Players want to team up with her, coaches want to build around her. Fans can't get enough. The old guard wasn't ready, but now they have no choice but to accept it. For years, the WNBA waited for a player who could change everything, someone who could command mainstream attention, pack arenas, and redefine the sport. The truth? That player is already here. Caitlin Clark isn't waiting her turn, she's rewriting the rules in real time.
Last November, and the game didn't need saving. I don't know who came up with Caitlin was a savior. That's not true. What the game needed was a disruption in the economic marketplace, and that's what we're seeing here, and that's why it's been so.
If you thought the Indiana Fever were a threat last season, just wait. Their projected starting five for next year isn't just strong, it's built to dominate. This isn't just a solid lineup, it's a championship caliber core with the perfect blend of youth, experience, shooting, defense, and leadership. The Fever aren't planning for the future. They're built to win right now.
That slows the whole team down. Use her body and get to her spots of being able to affect that defense.
Clark is coming off the masterful night and starts us off.
At the heart of it all, Caitlin Clark. She's the face of the franchise, an elite playmaker and a scoring machine who can pull up from anywhere on the court. Right beside her is Kelsey Mitchell, a pure shooter with instant offense, capable of taking over a game in TB, a heartbeat. Together, they form one of the deadliest backcourts in the league. And then there's DeWanna Bonner, the veteran every contender needs. Clutch, defensive-minded, and battle-tested in the playoffs, she brings leadership and experience to a team that's built to win.
Absolutely. Just watching Fever last season is how young they were and also how they made it to the playoffs, like as a young group. Like, you really don't see that a lot in WNBA. So, but I was just really proud of their work ethic, how they were so hungry and they were passionate about winning games and stuff. They had each other back, they trust each other out there, and that's the type of...
The front court, absolutely deadly. Natasha Howard adds grit, strength, and championship pedigree. The enforcer Indiana needs to own the paint. Then there's Aaliyah Boston, a force on both ends, a defensive cornerstone, and a future Hall of Famer in the making. This squad has everything: elite shooting, lockdown defense, veteran leadership, and a winning mentality. The rest of the league better be ready because Indiana isn't just showing up to compete, they're coming to dominate.
Picked up by Barnes. She drives right around her. Right baseline. Spinner in the lane. In and out and back in again. Hits the low.
Not long ago, Sheryl Swoopes was one of Caitlin Clark's loudest skeptics, doubting her impact and questioning whether she could handle the WNBA. She wasn't buying the hype, and she made sure everyone knew it. But now, silence. During a recent broadcast, analysts couldn't stop raving about Clark, her dominance, her leadership, her ability to change the game. And Swoopes? She sat there, saying nothing. 60 seconds of awkward, telling silence. No pushback, no defense. No acknowledgement that maybe, just maybe, she misjudged Clark. The same voice that once led the criticism suddenly had nothing left to say.
Hey, what's up, H-Town? It's your girl, Sheryl Swoopes, throwing out the first pitch. Here to cheer on the Astros. Yo, we gotta get it done tonight. Let's go, Stros!
Then came the most suspicious moment yet, when Indiana faced Dallas, a game where Sheryl Swoopes would have had to witness Caitlin Clark's dominance firsthand. She was nowhere to be found. Pulled from the broadcast. Coincidence? Highly doubtful. When the receipts stack up and hot takes start aging like spoiled milk, facing the music gets a whole lot tougher. And right now, Swoopes has gone quiet, just as Clark is making every last one of her doubters look dead wrong.
When I look back at a lot of firsts, right, that I've done and I've been able to do in my career, first player signed, first player to have a kid in the WNBA and come back.
The truth is, WNBA veterans like Sheryl Swoopes aren't upset with Caitlin Clark's game. They're upset because she didn't wait her turn. For years, the league has operated under an unspoken rule. Rookies must earn their stripes, pay their dues, and slowly work their way up before getting superstar treatment. Clark? She tore that script to shreds. She didn't seek permission. She didn't wait for approval. She stepped into the league with the confidence of a champion. And from day one, she proved she belonged.